All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Industrial Strength Podcast. It's a podcast more focused on industrial fire departments and industrial hazmat response. My name is Randy. I'm a hazmat specialist, 17 years on an industrial fire department doing mainly hazmat. With me once again are my co-hosts, Jeff and Steve.
Hey, I'm Steve, a hazmat technician with over 4 years of experience on an industrial emergency response team and well over a decade in the industrial and chemical field.
I'm Jeff, 20 years fire, 10 years industrial. Whoopee. Hey, today we're going to dive into a critical but sometimes misunderstood topic. Mm-hmm. Drum roll, please. It would be the role of Rapid Intervention Team, or RIT, as you might know it.
Yeah.
Especially during like the hazardous material emergencies. We're going to explore what RIT is and why it's essential. And most importantly, when RIT should be and should not be entering the hot zone during a hazmat operations.
Sounds like a very important topic.
You know, if you're in the fire service, everyone knows what RIT is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Fair statement?
I think so, yeah.
I would say so.
But the term applies in hazmat incidences as well. And it's just with some important differences. Mm-hmm. Randy, what might some differences be?
Sure, yeah. So that RIT team, it's a group of trained responders whose sole mission is to rescue emergency personnel who become lost, trapped, incapacitated, or otherwise kind of fall into harm's way while operating at an incident. So in other words, they're the safety net for our people who are working the front lines. So it's a really critical role, a lot of pressure. It's I think I heard the term before. It is low frequency, high
impact.
Yeah, exactly. So it is exactly.
Oh wait, I might have heard that before.
Yeah, training or something, or a person in particular. But during hazmat incidents, the function is similar, right? So this isn't just a fire service thing. So it's drilled into you quite literally in the fire service. But if you run like a standalone hazmat crew, you might not run across it, but it's just as critical that you learn it, know it, and do it. Because during those hazmat incidents, once again, like I said, the function's similar, but the environment's different, right? So instead of fire or building collapse from fire damage or entrapment hazards because of debris or falling down parts of the building you're in, we're dealing with chemical, biological, radiological, or other dangerous contaminants. And that changes the rules of engagement with that RIT team and with your responders downfield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. So why does RIT matter within hazmat operations? Because in hazmat incidents, rescuer safety takes a whole new level of complexity over the fire side. The hazardous environment isn't always visible to us. You can't always see radiation, and you can't always smell the danger of the chemical vapors until it's too late.
Yep.
Or not at all. And suiting up in a fully encapsulated level A suit, it limits your mobility quite a bit more than in bunker gear. Visibility can become bad, especially on a warm day. You start fogging up inside of there. Visor becomes almost unseeable.
Dude, that's not the worst part. The worst part is like all the moisture that's in there with you, man.
Yes.
Yeah. That is the pits.
Starts running down your arms and
your gloves. You're a walking sauna.
Yes, that is buns, man.
I mean, then you got that air supply inside there with you that makes it even bigger, so you can't really get into those tight spaces necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And your fine motor function, depending on what you're doing, it can be a bear.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit different than when you're on a fire call. Now, that's why RIT is important to us. Their presence ensures that if one of our responders that is in that level A or level B suit goes down in the hot zone, because of either heat stress, equipment malfunctions, which never happen, chemical exposures due to those malfunctions, or a medical emergency, which is actually probably the most likely scenario that we deal with anyway.
Sure.
There's a properly equipped and properly trained team ready to act right then. Think of your RIT team as the ultimate insurance policy. One that you hope you never have to use, but you can't safely operate without it.
Yeah, you never should, man. You're
Nope.
asking for so many issues if you don't run one. So you're literally
Absolutely.
yeah, you're literally running the risk of your people downrange. I don't know how it makes you feel, but it makes me feel super uncomfortable.
That would make me feel super uncomfortable if I was a team down in the hot zone. Yes,
because you know all your guys, you should know them all very well, and then to run the risk of not being able to save them if something goes wrong, that's ugly.
Yep,
very ugly. But so let's talk about Jeff. When do you think Rich should enter that hot zone? Right, because it's important.
So let's actually tackle that big question. Rich should enter the hot zone only, it's very specific, only when a responder inside that hot zone is an immediate life-threatening danger, such as probably loss of consciousness, heat stress, collapse, suit breach, and equipment malfunction. I think medical emergency, that kind of ties that a lot of stuff into there. And then there still is the entanglement and the inability to exit due to getting caught up into any number of situations there.
Yeah.
There's a confirmed situation awareness of that victim's last known location. That RIT is fully suited in that same level of personal protective equipment as a personnel that they are rescuing, usually the level A or B. That's a big one. The RIT team has to be ready to go. You're damn near in that suit. It shouldn't take you more than probably 30 seconds to get that zipped up and put on air so you can start heading back in there. A clear entry point and exit plan is established, including the decon routes. That's another big one.
That's a big one right there.
Yep. We can get lost doing that and get in trouble not knowing that. Incident command authorizes the entry after evaluating risk versus benefits. And that would be a tough one. So in short, RIT enters only for a true rescue, not for a recognizance, tool retrieval, secondary operations.
Right.
I hate to say this, but we did learn this on a training that we had very recently.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go into the details on it, but
no. But I also do want to add that sometimes we'll actually the level of PPE that the RIT team is in, we make that judgment call because sometimes we will on our calls staff our RIT team and have them in bunker gear. So that's a chemical by chemical evaluation.
Absolutely, we already know that chemical. We know the properties of that chemical. We know what most of the time we know what the situation already is. So,
And quite honestly, if we were to even have a known chemical that's off-gassing visible vapors, probably not going to go with the bunker gear at that point anyway, unless they're only a couple feet inside of a doorway that we can just yank them real quick.
Right. Absolutely. That or use fans to force an environment in our favor because that bunker gear is not vapor protective, right? So if it's off-gassing, like you said, Steve, in that scenario, it's going to find the spots that aren't covered correctly.
Yep, and there's plenty of spots in bunker gear that any kind of vapor can enter.
And in addition to that, while bunker gear is very good for a lot of things, including protecting you from heat and flames, chemicals will attack it and destroy it pretty readily. We were having a conversation before the show about how even washing your gear incorrectly will destroy it.
Yep.
But yeah, so those are a lot of good reasons why you should go in the hot zone, right? And staffing a RIT team, making sure the PPE is proper. But so Jeff, what for you, man? On the flip side of the coin, when do you think a RIT team shouldn't go into that hot zone?
Well, when conditions are immediately fatal to any of the unprotected and even protected responders, for example, high radiation levels, well beyond that suit limit. Yeah. Or even an oxygen deficient atmosphere where the protective gear won't sustain the life.
Yeah.
The victim is already assessed based on monitoring. Visual confirmation or data are non-viable. You're just putting them in harm's way.
Yeah, for recovery, not a rescue. It's a problem.
And really in hazmat, you risk a lot to save a lot. Doesn't really apply in the same way when it does to a structure fire for your fire guys out there.
But still, same thing. If you can save a life, that's a great thing. But what's the risk you're putting out there for it, right? So I
think a life is probably different. I mean, but you don't want to. I hate to say, you don't want to risk 3 lives for 1 life.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I agree wholeheartedly. So, yeah. But that's some ugly calculus you got to play, right? And maybe if you're a RIT team, you got a RIT team leader, and they're the ones making that ugly decision.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard decision.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason why you wouldn't want to go in. Adequate PPE isn't available. Hard to say. PPP.
That's a new one.
Yeah. Specifically, if you don't have the right suit, don't go in, period.
Yeah.
There's no defined rescue plan, no decon pathway, or insufficient air supply. I mean, if you don't have the air, obviously you're not going to go in. Now you're going to put yourself in harm's way.
Right.
The entry would create a secondary emergency due to the environmental instability, extreme contamination, or untenable exposure levels. I mean, the exposure levels are far above what the suit can handle. You're just asking for more trouble.
Yeah. I think
HAZMAT is a discipline where the risk is mathematically calculated, not emotionally driven. You don't want to rush into a chemical cloud hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's not going to work out in your favor.
Wait, so you're telling me we're supposed to know math to do calculations now?
Just probability.
All right, let's put it this way for you, Stephen. Every action must be deliberate.
I always thought it was every reaction has an equal and opposite criticism.
I like that one better.
That's the way I thought we operate. I don't know. Just saying.
I always thought the bigger the move, the more yelled at you get.
Yes.
You can't get yelled at when you don't move up from your desk.
You're speaking from experience there, aren't you, Jeffrey?
Well, if you're not getting yelled at like that, that's promotable quantities right there. I'm just saying. No deviations, promotion.
Yeah, so I get yelled at all the time. That's why I'm still the lowly peon.
Oh, that's because you're not at your desk, napping somewhere else.
But I'm not at my desk. You can't give my secrets away, Steven. Come on.
That's right.
I only know because I'm usually there with you.
Jeff shows up a rescue mannequin at his desk. It looks like he's working hard. He just disappears, man.
Weird. The mannequin's head's the exact same.
Yeah, weird.
Jeff is perfectly coiffed his hair to look like that mannequin.
I think we know what our next team training's going to involve.
It might be. We have to get the snow off the mannequin first.
It's true.
No, the snow is off. It's melting. It's in a warm spot now.
Yep. Oh, yeah. If only we could share that.
Yeah.
That one,
yeah. What's a few days out in the snow?
It didn't seem to mind.
Nope. So, since Jeffrey did point out why you shouldn't go in the hot zone, Randy, what are the dangers of entering the hot zone in bunker gear and just SCBA during unknown chemical releases?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Let's cover that real quick to give people that perspective too. So, a chemical scenario that comes up probably more often than you'd like is a chemical spill that produces visible vapors. Or sometimes it's there because of reported odors and you can't see it, but substance may be unknown. Responders are in bunker gear and SCBA, right? So, hoorah, great times. That is the way, the truth. But for chemistry, not the way it's supposed to be, right? Because while structural bunker gear is great in a lot of situations, it can be catastrophically dangerous because, number one, bunker gear is not chemically protective, right? It protects you against heat. It does a great job for water. But
it does not do a great job on water, but we'll go with that.
Well, it traps it in and it's supposed to keep it out. It's supposed to. I'll put it like that. It's designed for that.
But the boots are great for water, right?
If they're not cracked. I heard water in your boot makes you cranky. But so once again, bunker gear isn't chemically protective like a level A or level B suit, right? It doesn't have permeation data associated with it. So the chemicals there will specifically attack the material that bunker gear is made of. So it could react with it, degrade it, make it fall apart more easily. It's just not the same thing as chemically protective clothing that is made for purpose.
Yep.
So, and then SCBA, it's a phenomenal thing. It's great for protecting the lungs, but not the skin. So even you're going to have clean air on your eyes, nose, mouth, and chin, and in your lungs. But anything that isn't sealed around that mask, or if your mask isn't sealed very well, you're getting the business, man. So it's unfortunate. Chemistry is it's a fickle thing, and it's an equal opportunity killer. So it will attack whatever it can get a hold of, and that's any bit of skin you fail to cover up and protect. Yes, I mean, even for those who've had the luxury of donning bunker gear, right? I know for me personally, I've had experiences where I put on my bunker gear, thought I was good, went into a hot room and found where my hood has pulled away a little bit and exposed some skin. It's like, whoo, this is getting hot.
Yeah.
But for chemistry, it's not going to be so kind. It's not going to tell you it's hot. It's just you can come out and your skin's all left up. And then you get weeks of recovery.
So he'll tell you it's hot, but it's way too late at that point.
Right, because some things, like we talked about a couple weeks back, methyl iodide, once again, it's a carcinogen. It'll mutate you, right? Do you want that touching your skin? I the fuck don't. I don't know.
I mean, even like HCl vapors.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the time you feel it, your skin's melting.
Yeah, you're in deep trouble. And so, also, once again, if you got visible vapors on a chemistry release, it means that concentration, you should think is pretty significant, right? So if you see a vapor cloud, not just wisps, a vapor cloud, it often is going to indicate a high concentration of whatever that thing is. So you should expect some reduced oxygen. Could be a extremely volatile or reactive substance. That's not exactly the place you want for bunker gear. Bunker gear is not meant for extremely corrosive or extremely reactive gear. It's meant for hot. It's meant for like flame hot, not methyl iodide.
Fire.
Fire. But so unknown is too much of a risk really for bunker gear. Really, you should only really go chemical protective clothing, because if you don't know what you're walking into in bunker gear, you risk hurting yourself because you're not perfectly covered. You're risking your gear getting destroyed, damaged, even chemicals soaking into it that you're not going to maybe wash out because it's permeating its way through.
Oh, yeah.
So it could migrate through without you realizing it, especially if like someone catches a case of the lazies and they don't think the guy thing on their gear and they don't wash it. It can permeate through. ...
No one was more surprised than I.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the letter you want to write, considering you put on some gear that you didn't wash and now you got to take time off. So, but yeah, so if it's an unknown, man, you could be stepping into anything from an acid cloud to a airborne toxic to even a highly flammable atmosphere. Because right, if you think about something like ammonia, it's going to be corrosive until it hits that magic LEL threshold, and then that becomes an explosive flammable atmosphere.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then cryogenic vapor, so depending on what you're dealing with, if it's liquid nitrogen or if it's CO2 or even ammonia at certain temperatures, coming out of compression is very, very cold. All those could be horrendous, difficult things to deal with in bunker gear that will guarantee reach out and hurt you. Mm-hmm. So just waltzing in RIT in bunker gear in an unknown chemical situation has the potential to always make two victims instead of one, because there are a lot of situations that gear is not built for. So you really have to do your due diligence in deciding what your RIT team should be staffed in gear wise before you waltz in and do it.
I agree completely.
So bottom line, RIT and bunker gear doesn't really have a lot of business sense entering a chemical vapor cloud of unknown origin. So if you're going to staff your RIT team in bunker gear, You got to know the chemical. It's got to be something that's a controlled environment for you that you can deflect, deviate. You know what the chemical is. You know it's not going to hurt your guys in bunker gear. And if you can't do that, then put them in a different set of gear. Mm-hmm. So I know guys who are fire trained love wearing their fire gear and hate wearing the plastic suits. But if that's what's going to save them and save your guys, that's the way it's got to be.
Agreed.
So, but this brings up another great topic. So we talked about, Jeff and Steve, that I think we use RIT teams for rescuing the responders, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what is another big thing that RIT teams should not do?
Well, I think this is another thing that we kind of came across in one of our recent trainings where there was a little bit of a misconception, or at mm-hmm. least I feel there was a misconception.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's some people believe that RIT is just rapid intervention team. They rescue anybody. That's not true. They are only there to rescue the emergency responders that are on that hazmat operation as an entry team. Mm-hmm. Because they are...
Really, yeah, think about it. And now, if you send your RIT in, you need to have another RIT for another entry. You have to backfill a position.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because if your RIT goes down in the hot zone responding to entry team 1 or 2, who responds to getting them?
Right. You got to have somebody. You should. Otherwise, you're risking your people, the people you know.
Not to mention, one of the other backsides of it that we kind of talked about was the decon side. If you got your RIT team going in to respond to just a bystander that went down, and they're dragging them out, they then have to get deconned along with that victim, and then your entry team is coming out and they have to get deconned, and it can create a giant kind of backup right there.
Yeah, it'll create a huge bottleneck, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So it seems counterintuitive, obviously, to everyone out there, because you want to save everyone that you can.
Yeah.
But the biggest reason that we do that is RIT is a standby rescue team for responders only, because their mission is a singular and highly specialized one. They rescue emergency personnel who become incapacitated while performing their hazmat operations on that scene. And they are not an interior operations team and are not included in normal victim rescue. Mm-hmm. If RIT is used for civilians, you no longer have that rescue team ready for your hazmat entry crew, putting the entire response at risk. It can create delays in getting a new team in there, or you might not even have the personnel to do it in some scenarios if you only have 6 or 7 people show up to a call.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it really puts a damper on things, and it extends the length of the call probably double or triple.
Yeah, because that's a whole new wrinkle, talking about how many responders you have, right? Because you could always, I'm going to staff every team I want because I have unlimited numbers of whatever in fantasy land.
Yeah, that is right, fantasy, Steve, yeah.
You might only get 6 or 7. What are you doing with that, champ?
Sometimes we've had 4 or less.
Yeah. It gets real ugly, but you got to do certain things.
Yes.
So
now, the entry team is the only group equipped and briefed to encounter the victims. Those entry teams are wearing the correct level of PPE for the situation, because if it's an unknown, we're usually going level A.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're assigned their specific tasks. They're familiar with the plume modeling or exposures or whatever meters need to be used in that particular call. They're operating under the established incident action plans in place, and they're tracking their time on air, the suit integrity, and just a general kind of awareness of the entire situation going on. Whereas that RIT team is their one mind focus.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that should be performing that victim removal is entry team, because they're already inside, they're already prepared for that environment, and RIT has none of the operational context because they're not part of that planned action.
Absolutely.
And that's where we come across a lot of times, and we kind of came across in our scenario, is entry team had a not a complete, but a very high understanding of the atmosphere they were in, the surroundings. And in that situation, they were called out and RIT sent in to grab the victim.
Mm-hmm.
The RIT team had zero clue of what they were walking into.
Yeah.
Including any type of safety hazards in there, from tripping hazards or just obstructions.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, again, that was a training scenario. And I mean, the setup on that was a little bit different, but I mean, I think a lot of people on our training scenario did learn quite a bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's where training becomes a big component. You set your team up to learn those lessons in a safe environment rather than the hard way.
Yep. And one of our goals for that training was to specifically put people who are not used to running like bigger roles into those roles.
Yep.
And so we had a guy who was incident commander running the scene who isn't used to doing that. So it wound up being a good learning for everybody.
Yep. So. And in reality, that could be a possibility. It depends on who shows up to the calls. So.
Yep. And always trust there's going to be an officer or a chief around. Sometimes you just got to be the senior man and step up and get in that role and do it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Now, I mean, as soon as RIT enters for a civilian rescue, they're now committed. Their supply is getting depleted. Their suit integrity is compromised for future use if they're in the correct PPE. They must go through the decon and rehab process before they can be restaffed. Civilian rescues may require different tactics or tools and PPE than the RIT team has. They're going to be contaminated, possibly incapacitated, or covered in the product and located in areas not part of that initial planned entry and in need of immediate medical stabilization, which entry team can do a lot quicker than what your RIT team can do in that case.
Absolutely. But that's also a very important thing of having your people cross-trained, right?
Yes.
And so we like to cross-train our people, and that's a function of what we do. But if you're a standalone hazmat crew and you don't do medical and you don't do fire, that might be a problem. You might be completely overlooking something that's very important, like having someone medically trained on your entry team to be able to do those things.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then the RIT's effectiveness depends on them staying fresh and ready. And it's their job to be 100% ready at all times if one of our responders goes down. And we kind of alluded to that earlier, but that means either fully suited, or if it's like a level A, level B scenario, I would say 80% suited to where you just got to zip up that final foot or so of the suit and throw
that regulator on.
Yep, throw the regulator on your mask, have it ready to go. They're fully briefed of that scenario, where entry teams are at the time, so that they know right where they're going to grab that entry member that went down. They stay fully hydrated. They're fully equipped with the necessary tools to get that responder out, and they're on air if necessary ahead of time, completely uncommitted to other activities going on. So the bottom line here is RIT is an insurance policy for our responders. I can't hammer that home enough. It's not a general purpose rescue team, and they need to stay ready in that worst case scenario for us, because if we have a responder that goes down and we're not able to get to them and we're working on something else, then it kind of became a 1-for-1 or even a 1-for-2 loss right there. Like we talked about, you got to do that calculation ahead of time.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but we got to look out for ourselves first, because we're the only ones that can save those general civilians in those scenarios.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So, RIT, I mean, just recapping what we kind of just said, RIT in hazmat operations is a specialized and disciplined function. Steve said it in that bottom line. It's an insurance policy for the responders, us that are going in. While it mirrors the fireground RIT in concept, that decision-making process looks very different. The stakes are high, but the margins for error are very, very low. RIT is an essential safety component of the hazmat operations, but it's only when it's used correctly. Their job is to stand by and be ready, not to perform the primary rescues, not to enter in bunker gear and not to substitute for an entry team's responsibilities. RIT protects the responders that are going down into the hot zone, so the responders that are going into the hot zone can help protect the public. Pretty much, again, to recap, RIT is a dedicated rescue team for responders. Their job is critical, but tightly controlled during the hazmat incidents. As they only enter the hot zone for viable rescues under safe, planned, and authorized conditions. They do not enter when conditions make the rescue impossible or would endanger additional personnel. At the end of the day, the goal is, I guess, pretty simple. Everyone who goes in comes out.
That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah. A big job.
It is. It's a kind of behind the scenes job because hopefully 99.9% of the time you're not going to need that RIT.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do, shit goes down.
Well, everyone's losing their shit, right? One of your guys went down. So those RIT team guys have to be calm, smooth, collected, hit the ground running, be quick at what they do. Once again, no room for mistakes. So it's a very timed and skill-oriented job.
Yep.
You might say it's probably the most important job.
Yeah. They're the literal lifeline for your folks.
Yep.
So, but I think that's the end of our episode, fellas. So I think we need to ask people what they thought about it. Do they staff a RIT team? Do they not? How do they staff their RIT teams? I think maybe it'd be nice to hear from some people. Have them reach out. So, Steve, how would they reach out and contact us?
They can reach out in a multitude of ways, but via email at hazmatharder@gmail.com or industrialstrength@thehazmatguys.com are going to be the two best ways to get a hold of us. Otherwise, if you're listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below and we'll respond to you via the comment section. I don't believe it's possible to do it, but on our new platform, it might be on Spotify. Either you guys know that?
No, I have no idea.
I don't know.
I'm too old. When I get one of my kids, hold on.
So the biggest thing would just be emailing us at one of those two email addresses.
That'd be your best bet.
So,
drop us a snail mail.
Telegram?
But it's okay, but it's got to be stamped and it's got to be addressed on a $50 bill.
Oh, I thought we were going for hundreds only.
If you can put on a $50 bill, send you a secret bat address.
I'm super cheap.
No.
All
Steven.
right, Jeff.
So,
what do you think we're gonna have up on bat for next episode? What's on deck?
Oh, I think I might roll the dice here. Let's talk about maybe ICS.
Okay.
On-scene ICS broken down, maybe?
I think that's a good one because that's a big topic too.
absolutely.
The guy running the show, the keyway stone holding the kind of thing together. One is supposed to be holding it together.
And that whole structure is another thing that we learned not every team knows about.
Yes. I think it'd be important to dive into that a little bit, talk about that structure for those who, once again, don't employ fire training, right? If you're a standalone hazmat team, God bless you. That's a phenomenal job to do. But then some of this ICS stuff and incident command is going to be very helpful, especially on larger incidents.
Agreed.
So. But all right, I think it's a wrap then, friends.
Well,
so until next time.
Yeah. Until next time.
HAZMAT RIT.